If you're a man over 50, your body usually stops giving you free passes. The foods that never used to affect you now hit your energy harder. Your waistline gets less forgiving. Recovery slows down. Blood pressure, blood sugar, cholesterol, joint stiffness, brain fog, and low-grade fatigue can all start creeping in at the same time. And that's exactly why I want to talk with you about Moringa. Not as a miracle, not as hype, and definitely not as a replacement for real medical care. I want to talk about it as a science-backed plant that may give you a meaningful edge if you use it wisely. Before I go any further, I want to ask you something. Have you ever tried Moringa before, or is this the first time you're really hearing about it? And if you're over 50, what's the one health issue you most want to improve right now? Energy, blood sugar, cholesterol, blood pressure, belly fat, joint pain, or mental sharpness? Let me know in the comments below, because I read those, and they tell me what people are really dealing with. Now, when I say Moringa, I'm talking about Moringa oleifera, usually the leaf in the form of powder, capsules, or tea. That matters because the leaf is the part most commonly used and studied. I do not mean the root or bark, which can carry more safety concerns and are not what I recommend people casually experiment with. And I also want to be honest with you from the start. The science on Moringa is promising, but it's not perfect. Some of the evidence comes from small human studies, and some comes from animal or lab research, so I'm not going to oversell it. What I am going to do is show you why, especially after 50, Moringa is worth considering as part of a bigger health strategy. The first reason is simple but powerful. Moringa is unusually nutrient-dense, and that matters more than most men realize. One of the biggest problems I see after 50 is not necessarily eating too little food. It's eating enough calories but not enough useful nutrition. A lot of men are getting plenty of carbs, plenty of processed fats, and plenty of salt, but not enough minerals, antioxidants, fiber, and phytonutrients. Moringa leaves contain a surprisingly broad nutritional profile, including fiber, some protein, carotenoids, polyphenols, and minerals like potassium, calcium, magnesium, and iron. The exact amounts vary depending on how it's grown and processed, but the overall pattern is consistent. It packs a lot into a small amount. Why does that matter to you? Because after 50, your body becomes less tolerant of nutritional sloppiness. You don't recover from a bad week of eating the way you did at 30. Muscle maintenance gets harder. Your metabolism becomes more sensitive. Your blood vessels, bones, brain, and immune system all depend on consistent nutrient intake. Moringa is not a magic multivitamin, and it's not a substitute for vegetables, protein, or a balanced diet. But if I can help you add one simple, concentrated source of helpful nutrients to your routine, that can be a smart move. Sometimes health doesn't improve because of one dramatic change. Sometimes it improves because you stop running low on the basics. The second reason men over 50 should consider Moringa is its antioxidant activity. Aging, in many ways, is an oxidative stress story. Every day, your body produces unstable molecules called free radicals through normal metabolism, exercise, stress, poor sleep, alcohol, pollution, and inflammation. In small amounts, that's normal. But over time, especially if your lifestyle is not great or your metabolic health is drifting, those oxidative processes can contribute to damage in blood vessels, joints, the brain, skin, and other tissues. This is one reason aging doesn't just feel like getting older, it feels like accumulating wear and tear. Moringa contains compounds such as quercetin, chlorogenic acid, carotenoids, and other polyphenols that have shown antioxidant effects in research. What I like about this is not the fantasy that antioxidants somehow stop aging. They don't. What they do is help support your body's own defense systems against excess cellular stress. That matters because oxidative stress is connected to many of the things men over 50 worry about: cardiovascular disease, cognitive decline, insulin resistance, exercise recovery, and chronic inflammation. I'm not telling you that you'll take Moringa for a week and feel 10 years younger. I'm saying that if you consistently give your body more antioxidant support, you may be creating a better internal environment for healthy aging. The third reason is inflammation. And this is a big one. A lot of men over 50 are walking around with low-grade chronic inflammation and don't even know it. It doesn't always show up as a fever or obvious illness. It shows up as stubborn belly fat, aching joints, poor recovery, rising blood sugar, low motivation, and a body that seems to overreact to stress. Chronic inflammation is one of the common threads connecting heart disease, metabolic syndrome, arthritis, and even aspects of brain aging. That's why I take anti-inflammatory nutrition seriously. Moringa contains plant compounds, including certain isothiocyanates and polyphenols, that appear to influence inflammatory pathways in the body. In practical terms, that means moringa may help reduce some of the biological signals associated with ongoing inflammation. Now, I want to be careful here. This does not mean moringa is a treatment for arthritis, and it does not mean it will replace medical care if you have inflammatory disease. But if you're trying to build a more anti-inflammatory lifestyle through better food, movement, sleep, and weight control, moringa can fit into that strategy very well. And for men over 50, reducing chronic inflammation is not a luxury. It's one of the smartest long-term moves you can make. The fourth reason is one of the most interesting from a metabolic perspective. Moringa may support healthier blood sugar control. This gets my attention because blood sugar issues often start becoming more visible in the 50s and beyond. Some men are diagnosed with prediabetes. Others haven't been diagnosed, but they already have the pattern: more belly fat, afternoon crashes, sleepiness after meals, stronger cravings, and lab numbers that are quietly moving in the wrong direction. By the time fasting glucose or A1C becomes obviously abnormal, the process has often been developing for years. Some small human studies and a larger body of early research suggest that moringa leaf may help lower post-meal blood sugar and support glucose regulation in certain people. There are a few likely reasons for that. The fiber content may help slow carbohydrate absorption. Compounds like chlorogenic acid may influence how the body handles glucose, and the broader anti-inflammatory and antioxidant effects may help support insulin sensitivity over time. That is especially relevant for men over 50 because insulin resistance tends to rise with age, inactivity, excess body fat, poor sleep, and chronic stress. Now let me be very responsible with this point. If you're taking medication for diabetes or blood sugar control, this is not something to mess around with casually. Because if moringa does help lower glucose, it can potentially add to the effect of your medication. So I would want you to discuss it with your doctor or pharmacist and monitor your numbers instead of guessing. But as a supportive nutritional tool, especially for men trying to avoid slipping further toward metabolic disease, moringa is absolutely worth a serious look. The fifth reason is heart health, especially cholesterol and triglycerides. Men over 50 need to think about cardiovascular risk whether they feel fine or not. Heart disease does not always announce itself with symptoms early on. Sometimes your first warning sign is far too dramatic. That's why I'm a huge believer in paying attention before there's an emergency. Blood lipids are part of that picture, especially LDL cholesterol, triglycerides, and the overall inflammatory environment in which those particles are circulating. Some research on moringa has shown potential benefits for total cholesterol, LDL cholesterol, and triglycerides. Though again, not every study is large or definitive. The mechanisms make sense. Fiber can help with lipid handling. Antioxidants may reduce oxidative damage to LDL particles. And oxidation matters because damaged LDL is more likely to contribute to plaque formation. Moringa may also influence how the liver processes fats. For a man over 50, that combination is interesting because heart risk is rarely about one number in isolation. It's about the whole terrain: inflammation, blood sugar, blood pressure, body composition, and lipid quality. I want to be crystal clear here. If your doctor put you on a statin or another heart medication because you need it, moringa is not a replacement. I would never tell you to substitute a supplement for evidence-based treatment. But I do think there's a big difference between asking, can moringa cure heart disease? And asking, can moringa be one more useful layer of support in a heart-smart lifestyle? The answer to the second question may very well be yes. The sixth reason is blood pressure and circulation. After 50, arteries often become stiffer. Endothelial function, which is basically how well your blood vessels behave and respond, can decline. Add in stress, poor sleep, high sodium intake, extra body weight, and inactivity, and suddenly blood pressure that used to be fine starts creeping upward. A lot of men normalize this. They say, well, I'm getting older. But I don't want you to just normalize it. I want you to respect it. Because blood pressure affects your heart, kidneys, eyes, and brain. Moringa appears to have properties that may support vascular health. Its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds may help reduce stress on the blood vessel lining, and its nutritional profile includes potassium, which is helpful for healthy blood pressure regulation when used in the context of an overall balanced diet. There is also early evidence suggesting moringa may help support nitric oxide activity and healthier vessel function, though this is not an area where I would overpromise. I think the strongest position is the honest one. Moringa may offer modest support for blood pressure and circulation, especially when combined with weight control, exercise, sleep, and better food quality. And once again, if you are already on blood pressure medication, I want you to be smart. Do not pile supplements on top of medication and assume more is always better. More is not always better. Safer and more informed is better. Check with your clinician, monitor your numbers, and treat this like a real health decision, not a social media trend. The seventh reason men over 50 should consider moringa is liver support. I know the word liver doesn't excite most people, but it should. Your liver is one of the central metabolic control centers in your body. It helps regulate blood sugar, process fats, manage toxins, store nutrients, and support hormone balance. When the liver gets overloaded by excess alcohol, ultra-processed food, chronic overeating, insulin resistance, or fatty liver changes, you can feel it in a lot of indirect ways. Fatigue, poorer metabolic control, abnormal labs, and a general sense that your body isn't handling things well. Some studies suggest moringa may help support healthy liver enzymes and protect liver tissue from oxidative stress. I do not describe this as a detox cleanse, because that language is usually oversimplified nonsense. Your liver does not need a trendy cleanse. It needs fewer insults and better support. That support can include weight loss when needed, better sleep, less alcohol, more movement, and nutrient-dense foods. Moringa may fit into that picture by helping reduce oxidative burden and supporting a healthier metabolic environment. This matters especially for men over 50, because non-alcoholic fatty liver disease is incredibly common, and many men have it without realizing it. If your waistline has grown, your blood sugar has drifted up, and your triglycerides are high, your liver is very likely part of the conversation. So when I think about moringa, I'm not just thinking about one isolated herb. I'm thinking about how one plant might support several interconnected systems at once, and the liver is a major one. The eighth reason is gut health, digestion, and regularity. I don't think this topic gets enough respect, especially among men. A lot of men will talk about cholesterol, testosterone, or blood pressure, but they won't talk about their digestion even when it's clearly affecting their quality of life. And yet, after 50, gut health matters enormously. Your microbiome, your bowel regularity, your gut barrier, and your ability to tolerate food all influence inflammation, metabolism, mood, and immune function. Moringa contains fiber and polyphenols that may support a healthier gut environment. Fiber helps with stool bulk and regularity, and polyphenols can interact with gut bacteria in helpful ways. If your diet has been low in plants and low in variety, adding something like moringa may be one easy way to start improving your gut terrain. Better digestion is not just about comfort. It can mean steadier energy, less bloating, more predictable bowel habits, and possibly better metabolic control. There's also the practical side. When your meals contain more fiber and more nutrient density, they often satisfy you better, which can make overeating a little less likely. Now, I don't want to pretend moringa is perfect for everyone's stomach. If you jump into a large dose quickly, especially if you're not used to fiber-rich foods, you may get gas, cramping, or loose stools. That's not a failure. It just means your body may do better with a smaller amount to start. If you have digestive disease, take medications, or have a history of kidney issues or other chronic conditions, get personalized advice. But for many men over 50, Improving gut quality is an underrated way to improve whole body health, and Moringa can be part of that. The ninth reason is brain health and cognitive aging. This one matters deeply to me because a lot of men start noticing subtle mental changes before they admit them out loud. They don't necessarily have severe memory loss. It's more like they don't feel as sharp. They lose words more often. Their focus is less stable. Their motivation is lower. Their mood is flatter. And while there can be many causes for that, including poor sleep, depression, medication effects, stress, low activity, hearing loss, and blood sugar swings, I always take those complaints seriously. Moringa has shown neuroprotective potential in preclinical research, largely because of its antioxidant and anti-inflammatory compounds. That doesn't mean it has been proven to prevent dementia in humans. It has not. I want to be disciplined about that. But the biology is meaningful. The brain is highly vulnerable to oxidative stress and inflammation, and it depends heavily on healthy blood flow, stable glucose control, and lower vascular risk. So if a food or supplement supports those systems, it may indirectly support brain function as well. That's one reason I think about Moringa as part of a broader healthy aging plan, rather than just a standalone trick. For men over 50, protecting your brain is not something you leave until there's a crisis. It starts with daily choices: how you sleep, how you move, how you eat, how well you manage blood pressure and blood sugar, and how much inflammatory burden your body is carrying. Moringa may be a small but meaningful part of that picture, not because it performs miracles, but because healthy aging is often about stacking many modest wins over time. The 10th reason is that Moringa may support active aging by helping with recovery, muscle maintenance, and overall physical resilience. After 50, one of the biggest threats to long-term independence is not just disease. It's loss of muscle, loss of strength, and loss of movement confidence. Sarcopenia, which is age-related muscle loss, can begin gradually and quietly. You don't wake up one day and notice it all at once. You notice that stairs feel harder, you get tired sooner, your balance is worse, your posture changes, and your body composition shifts even if the scale doesn't move that much. Moringa is not a substitute for resistance training, and it is not a substitute for adequate dietary protein. If you want to protect muscle after 50, you need strength training and enough total protein. That part is non-negotiable. But Moringa can still be helpful. It provides some protein, a broad array of micronutrients, and plant compounds that may help with inflammation and recovery. Minerals like magnesium and potassium matter for muscle function. Antioxidant support may matter for recovery from training and daily wear and tear. And when you add nutrient density to your routine, you often make it easier to stay active consistently, which is what really protects your body over time. I also want to say something important here because a lot of men are tempted by supplement marketing around masculinity and hormones. You may see Moringa discussed as a testosterone booster. I think that claim gets ahead of the evidence. There is some early research, including animal data, that has prompted interest, but I would not present Moringa to you as a proven testosterone supplement. That's not the honest, responsible way to talk about it. What I will say is this: when you support metabolic health, reduce inflammation, improve nutrient intake, sleep better, and keep moving, your body tends to function better overall. And that is a much more credible path to feeling stronger, sharper, and more capable. So where does all of this leave you? It leaves you with a balanced conclusion. I do think men over 50 should consider Moringa, especially if they are trying to improve nutrient density, support blood sugar, reduce inflammatory burden, and build a healthier aging routine. But I don't think every man should run out and take it blindly. I want you to be intentional. If you decide to try it, I would keep it simple. Use Moringa leaf powder, capsules, or tea from a reputable company that tests for quality and contamination. The leaf is the part I would focus on. I would avoid random root or bark products. I would start with a small amount, especially if you have a sensitive stomach, and take it with food. I would not combine it with 5 other new supplements at the same time, because then you won't know what's helping or what's irritating you. I would give it time, because plants like this are not like caffeine. You're not looking for a dramatic jolt. You're looking for gradual support. And this is the part I really want you to hear. If you take medication for diabetes, blood pressure, blood thinning, thyroid issues, or any chronic condition, talk to your doctor or pharmacist before adding Moringa. The reason is simple. If Moringa affects blood sugar, blood pressure, or clotting-related nutrients, that matters. It doesn't mean Moringa is dangerous. It means your health decisions should be coordinated, not random. That's what smart people do. I also want you to judge it the right way. Don't judge Moringa by whether you feel a sudden burst of energy after one day. Judge it by whether it helps you stay more consistent with your health goals. Judge it by whether your digestion feels better, whether your appetite is steadier, whether you're building a more nutrient-dense routine, whether your blood sugar and cholesterol numbers are improving over time with your doctor's guidance, and whether you're using it as part of a bigger plan that includes sleep, walking, strength training, hydration, and real food. Because the truth is, no plant can save a lifestyle that is working against you every day. But a good plant can absolutely support a lifestyle that is moving in the right direction. And that's how I want you to think about Moringa. Not as magic, as leverage. If I were speaking to you one-on-one, my message would be this. After 50, your health is built by the small things you do repeatedly. The morning walk, the better breakfast, the strength workout you almost skipped but didn't, the decision to get your labs checked instead of guessing, the habit of adding more useful nutrition instead of just more calories. Moringa fits that philosophy very well. It's a small habit that may help support several systems that matter more and more as you age. So if you've been looking for a practical, science-informed way to upgrade your routine, Moringa is worth considering. Not because it promises the impossible, but because healthy aging favors the man who stacks sensible advantages. And if you do decide to try it, do it the smart way. Quality product, small starting dose, realistic expectations, and full respect for the medications and conditions you already have. If this helped you, tell me in the comments which of these 10 reasons stood out the most for you. And if you've tried Moringa already, I'd love to know what you noticed, especially if you tracked anything real like blood sugar, digestion, energy, or lab results. Your future health is not decided in one dramatic moment. It's shaped by what you choose again and again. And starting today, you can choose to give your body better support.